there's never been a time all through my years in university where I had complete full stop. I said, no, I have full stop, now I can go. In fact, 400 level, first semester, 400 level. The only full stop I had was 1 mudu of rice. I didn't even have transport to go to school. I'm telling you the truth. Including Wada here, I had to give the keke man that 1 mudu of rice to take me to school. That was the only full stop. So I didn't even have transport.
Wait, repeat that line again.
Yes. The only thing I had, yes,
the mudu of rice
to take me to school.
Okay, how did you come up with that plan? Some time ago, I wrote an article titled The First Class Mentality. That article was written as a response to one question that many students have asked me again and again. How can I graduate with a first class result? After writing that article, I realized something very interesting. About 90% of students desire to graduate with a first class result. But over time, we have seen that the desire to graduate with first class cannot compensate for a lack of knowledge about the principles of success. So today, I'm joined by somebody I consider a force in the academic corridor. And together, we are going to be giving you a roadmap, a practical plan, or if you wish, a clear layout of how anyone can graduate with a first class result. And when I say anyone, I mean anyone, irrespective of your background, irrespective of your country, and irrespective of the current limitation. You don't want to miss this conversation. But before we go deep into the conversation, I would like my guest to introduce himself. Mr. Luke, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, James. It's a great privilege to be here with you, and I am very happy to share my personal journey, not just as an undergraduate student, but also the principles I have consistently sustained over the years. So my name is Luke Ochepita. I'm a PhD student from the Vaccine Research Center at the University of Nigeria. I also have a master's degree in epidemiology and medical statistics from the same University of Nigeria, the Institute of Public Health. Yes, and most importantly, I graduated with the first class honors degree in microbiology at Bayero University, Kano, where I emerged the best graduating student with a CGPA of 4.98. Currently, I'm a research consultant and the founder and executive director of the African Institute for Public Health Research, where I coordinate research activities in public health, dealing specifically with health policies, maternal and child health, and infectious diseases epidemiology, among others.
Wow. 4.98. All right, so I just wanted to just share a little of your journey so far, like your journey as an undergraduate student. Just share a little of the journey. How were you able to graduate with such an exceptional result? Just briefly, how were you able to graduate with such an exceptional result?
Well, to some people, 4.98 is actually an exceptional result, but my goal was to graduate with 4.99. So that was my initial goal.
Wait, 4.99. Okay.
Yeah.
That was like a 0.01.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So my goal was actually to graduate with 4.99. And what actually birthed this was, when I got admission, my goal was not to just graduate with the first class like that. I wanted to have something more than a first class. I was eyeing the BGS, the best graduating students, and I knew that to emerge the BGS, I need to have not just a weak first class, but I needed something very, very strong, very strong. Yeah.
Wow.
So when I got admission, before we resumed, my chemistry teacher then, Mr. Peter, I saw his name is also Mr. Peter, he took me on a ride and he told me, Peter, you have no choice but to graduate to first class. So he told me that. And when I resumed, it was a goal, not just a first class. I wanted to maintain 5 points consistently, and the goal was 4.99. So I shared it with some people, some mentors, For those of you in BUK, you must have in physiology department specifically, you know, Mr. Sunday Okoro, yeah, the chief laboratory technologist. I shared with him. I told him that I'm going to leave this school as the best graduating student. And also, the first meeting we had at the convocation arena, it was a CANS meeting then. So when I stepped into the convocation arena for that program, the first thing I told myself was, the next time I'll come back to this convocation arena, I'm going to come back to be celebrated as the best graduating student. And
Wow.
it happened that way. So basically, that is just it
Wow.
briefly.
Okay. I used to tell students, my students, that every student that emerged eventually with the first class, none of them achieved that by luck.
Yeah.
I believe even before you get into campus, before you get into the school, you must have that goal that you want to graduate with the first class. So was it that even before you got admission to the school, your goal and your aim was to graduate with that particular 4 point, just like you said, it was 4.99. But was it before you got into the school or in your level one? At what point particularly?
Yes. You know, truth be told, why 4.99? Actually, the goal, as I said, before I resumed, I wanted the best of the best. I wanted to be the best graduating student. I put in actions before that. You know, before we resumed, they were talking about Master 1301 and all that and all that. I bought my back house. I bought textbooks even before we resumed. Before school resumed, I've started reading.
Before you stepped your feet into campus,
before the session started officially, before the school calendar started, I already started studying from home. You understand? But after the first semester exam, result came out and I had 4.94 with only a B in physics practical, physics 1170. Yeah, I still remember, it's a 1 credit course. So when I say, if I can get 4.94, I can get 5 points. Yeah, so I now calculated it that, okay, if I consistently have 5 points from now till I graduate, that will be 4.99. So the goal was now, okay, I'm going to keep having 5 points until I graduate. So that was where the goal of having that 4.99 came. And then over time, out of the remaining 7 semesters, I got to have 6 5 points. And then just the last semester, I got a B in field trip. So that was why I couldn't get 4.99.
Okay, field trip, is it like a 1 or 2 credit course?
Yeah, field trip is a 2 credit course.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we have something in common. Though I didn't graduate with 4.94 or 98 rather, but we have something in common. I think my level 1 also, first semester, I also had a B in that physics 1170, and I think it was 4.942. I had a B. So there are some people that are watching now, they feel it's somehow impossible for them, for a student to graduate with such an outstanding fit. Is it still possible? Like, is it still possible for somebody to hit that particular target?
In fact, it is more than possible, because everything, I just believe everything is possible. If I can do it consistently 5 points, 6 times, I believe everybody can do it. Even now, if you just put it as a goal and make up your mind, it was not just a casual thing. You know, over time in school, when you come to my room, if you look over my bunk, you will see my goals there. Every semester, all the courses, you know, I put them with the A's, 5 point, 5 point, 5 point. So it is very, 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 in fact, it is easier now than then, because then I used to tell my youths, I didn't have an Android phone until I was in 300 level. So I was cut off from the group WhatsApp chat. There was no information, you know, materials, nothing. I was just concentrating on, you know, going to the library, borrowing phone and all that. So, but now things are much, much easier. There is AI and all that. So I believe it's very, very possible to achieve that now.
Since you brought the issue of phone, I wanted us to talk on that much later. But since you have brought up the issue of phone, don't you think you not having a phone at that time was more of to your own advantage? There's AI, of course, now. There's, you know, a lot of people have access to phones. Don't you think you not having a phone till your level 3, don't you think it was part of the reason why you were able to have such an outstanding performance?
Yes, actually, it was one of the most important gifts I had back then in school, not having an Android phone until 300 level.
You now, I'm coming, I want to address somebody. You now, you are crying because your own phone is Android, it's not iPhone. and you're in level one, and, and our guest is saying that it is a gift for him not having the phone.
Yeah.
Drop your phone.
Yes, very, very, very important. It's very important because then, yeah, I didn't have 100 level, 200 level, 3. Even in fact, even the Android phone I later got, it was actually a gift. Yeah, because I was the fellowship president, and they say, why couldn't you? Why will you not have an Android phone? So it was actually a gift. It was very possible that I would have graduated even without an Android phone, and it was very, very good because I didn't have distractions. I was not doing WhatsApp. I was not. Yeah, I was very, very, very focused. If I needed maybe internet connections and all that, I had friends. And also concerning information, I was one of the first persons to even get information because I was, close to the class rep and all that. So it was a gift, sincerely.
So please, can you tell us how did your background shape your academic journey? I want to know your background, your upbringing. How did it shape your academic journey?
At this point, I would actually recommend. I wrote an autobiography at 25, or a true story. It's You can Google it, you can see it. My
Please, before you continue, let me talk more of the book. I've read the book, Oche, his autobiography. If you are interested in getting the copy of the book, I'm telling you, it's going to blow your mind. Just under the comment section, you can just indicate your interest. Just say, I'm interested in getting the book. Oche is a book that will actually shape your mind and shape your life. Highly, highly recommended.
Thank you very much. So my dad and my mom, yeah, they're unlearned. Yeah, my dad only attended primary school briefly, and my mom never, never, never saw the four corners of a school. So, and but I've always been a passionate person about education from small, and considering the hardship we grew up with, it actually shaped me because I actually wanted to make a difference. The living condition was not very good, so I looked at it that no, if I want to make a difference in my family, if I want things to be better, then I just need to take my academics seriously. I couldn't even graduate from the primary school completely. After second term primary 5, I was driven home for school fees, and that was the last time I stepped my feet to school again, until someone just looked at me and say, young man, why are you not going to school? And he decided to sponsor me through secondary school. So when I got to secondary school, it was one of the best schools in town, Caris College. Yeah, over there in Caris College, we have very intelligent students. So the first term there, I had 10th position. So I had to sit down and really make up my mind to catch up with them. So I started from JSS2 second term. I never did JSS1, you understand? So what I started doing, I started reading notes and textbook from JSS1 first semester. So I had to cover what I was not taught from JSS1 and JSS2 first term. So by the time we got to JSS3, I was already topping the class. By the time we wrote junior WAEC, out of 14 subjects, I was having 13 A's.
Like that is from junior WAEC?
Yes. Out of 14 subjects, I was having 13 A's. Wow. You understand? So I started studying, having sleepless nights at home at secondary school level. In fact, to the point that I can still remember when my father wakes up at night, he sees me reading, he would drive me to go and sleep, that interfering with, this is the time that spirits move at night, and that I should go and sleep. But I kept pressing, I kept pushing. In fact, my brother would quote the scriptures for me that the race is not to the swift, the battle is not to the strong, but I kept pushing. So the background I came from, the challenges of poverty and all that, it really influenced me to buckle down and put in effort in my academics, such that when I went to the university, I knew that there was nobody paying my school fees. So I had to, struggle to get those grades to secure myself scholarships. So throughout my stay in BUK, I had 6 scholarships. That helped me, to pay my school fees. I got VC Best Student Scholarship 3 times, Ajoke Foundation Scholarship, I got it 2 times. So I got 6 scholarships that helped me. I knew that because there was no support from anywhere, I just had to take my studies seriously so that I can scale through.
So growing up, were there time where some basic necessities that were required or were needed for your studies? Were there time where you lacked those basic needs?
Well, not there was, in fact, there was never a time where I had everything complete. In fact, I still remember even at secondary school level, I will have, those of you in Kano, I will trek from Dawaki to Hadeja Road. From Dawaki to Hadeja Road. Why? Just to go and borrow textbook from my classmate to do assignment. You understand? I trek from Dawaki to Hadeja Road, so things were not complete. In fact, there are times where I will have to copy notes for my friends to use textbook. Then those rich kids, then they had so many chemistry. Someone can have like 4 different textbooks on chemistry, but they will never use it. And so I remember, having to write notes for some students, get just to use their textbook. So things were not actually complete. Things were not perfect. I didn't have everything. Yeah, even when I was at Bayero, everything was not actually available. There were times, hunger and hardship, but we still had to pull through.
So now, what can you tell us is one of the biggest or greatest challenges you've had throughout your stay in school? Let's say in campus, for instance,
Yeah.
what can you identify as one of the major challenges you've had so far?
Okay. The biggest challenge, I think they've asked me this question to several times. The biggest challenge I had in school was hunger. Yeah, hunger.
Wow.
I do tell, there were times where I I I soak gari, I drink gari. There were times I will do kwado with gari. Kwado is this Hausa food, you gari and pepper and maggi.
Yes.
Sometimes I'll eat the gari raw. You understand? In fact, there was a time I so dealt with gari to the point that when I'm breathing, I could smell gari. Like I was breathing out gari. It was
That
it
was
was that
serious.
very serious. So there were times where I stayed days, especially when I was level 1, level 2, days without food. I didn't know. In fact, sometimes I would just sleep and wake up and I said, okay, I'm satisfied, but I wasn't eating. But when we were doing, I can never forget when we were doing maths 1303, that's calculus. Yes, calculus. That period of time, there were some concepts that I got to understand while I was reading on empty stomach. It's like my stomach was so empty, but I said, no, I'm going to study. Hunger will not stop me from studying. And at some point, I still remember some very complex calculus. It was at the peak of that hunger. It's as if it's lightened up my brain. You understand? And I was able to understand a lot of things. So hunger was the most important challenge I had in school.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you turned the hunger to a motivation. Because me, though now I know better, but
Yeah.
those days when I was in school, I used to feel that if I'm hungry, I cannot be able to assimilate things. I just carried that mentality then at that time that when I'm hungry, I cannot be able to read. And as because I had that mentality
Yeah.
then, anytime I'm hungry, my brain will just go lock. So, but you, even in hunger, you were able to still find an inspiration through your hunger to read.
Yeah.
Wow. There is a story you told me one time. I don't know if
Yeah.
you still remember, you may have forgotten. There was one time you slept off, you get it, while cooking the beans. I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember that
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
shed more light on
Yes.
that story?
Yes. You know, uh, over then in school, because of the nature of the kind of study I do, at level one, 100 level, I do study 12 hours straight. I do 18 hours straight at level 1. At a sport, 10 hours, 12 hours, 18 hours straight. So I do extended kind of reading. And most time when I come back, I get very, very, very exhausted. So I think it's one of those days, you know, I came back from study, so I was cooking. Yeah, it was beans then, and then yes, I slept off. My pot almost got melted. Yeah, the food
Wow.
got burnt and all that. Because of I was very stressed out, so I slept off while cooking. So it's true
Wow.
actually. Yeah.
For me, the longest time I've read one sitting, if I can remember
Yeah.
vividly, was in my level 100.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, around 10 or 12 hours.
Yeah.
But you consistently read 12, 18
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
Wow. Please, can you tell us some mindsets that you've developed over time or then in school that shaped your academic journey? What are some
Okay.
mindsets that shaped your journey academically?
Okay. Number one is the mindset of responsibility. Yeah, one of my biggest quotes, something that has stayed with me for years, is a quote from Bishop David Oyedepo. He says, "You are absolutely responsible for the outcome of your life." That's the most important mentality. I understood that hunger or no hunger, family or no family, support or no support, lecturer or no, in fact, nothing. I just believe that my success and my failure is in my hands. If I succeed, it is in my hand. If I fail, it is in my hands. So that thing is actually the most important in keeping me till today. Personal responsibility. Then number two mindset, I believe that these two will pass. You know, hunger will pass, but the result I get, even after my death, is still
So,
going to be there. Yes.
wow.
So circumstances are transient, they are temporal, they don't stay forever. But the result you get, it's a badge of honor. Anywhere I go now, yeah, I talk about the hunger and I love, but that result is still there. So I believe that no condition is permanent. Yes, there's a popular saying: the fact that you came from a poor background doesn't mean your back should be on the ground. Yeah, so I take personal responsibility.
Wow.
I believe that no condition is permanent. Again, another mindset is the mindset of we die here. That's the mindset I use during my studies. We die here. Yes. It's something I usually say. If I have carved out maybe 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours to study, for example, there is nothing on earth that will make me to leave that place until I've exhausted that time. So these are mindsets that actually helped me over the years.
Yeah, I understand with that deal
Mm,
because I graduated with first class too,
mm,
and I know there is no student that will graduate with first class
mm,
just by luck. There
mm.
must be an effort that you
Yeah.
put in place. Yeah. So, how do you balance other aspects of your life since you read 18 hours, 12 hours? Sometimes you say you stay there for long. How do
Mm,
you balance other aspects of your life? Maybe your relationship with God,
yeah.
fellowship life, your social life,
Yeah.
and every other life in campus.
Yes. Uh, the truth is that, we have, as a student, you have your academics, you have religious activities, you have social activities, you have businesses to do. But there is one thing that I understood. I came to school to study. That's the principal thing. Every other thing is secondary.
Secondary.
Every other thing is secondary. So what I did when I was in school, I will use Hausa. Basically, they
Yes.
call it Boko Zala. That most of the things I did, I prioritized my academics. Prioritize my academics. Then, about fellowship, yes, I held several positions in the fellowship and all that. But one thing everybody know me with till today is proper time management. If you have a meeting with me, for example, you tell me, please come and do me tutorial, and I give you 8 o'clock. If by 1 minute after 8 you don't come, you will not see me again, and you've lost that opportunity for that semester. You won't have me again. During the fellowship, when it's fellowship time, throughout my stay in university, I always tell people I never read my book on Sundays. There were times where I had 2 exams on Monday. I have never read my book on Sunday.
Wow.
I gave, it
Wow.
was a covenant.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a covenant I made with God. I never read my book on a Sunday. So I gave that one to God. So I had 6 days to read. I still go to fellowship like 4 times in a week. But when I come to the fellowship, if the fellowship is supposed to start by 7:30, as a leader in the fellowship, 7:30 it must start. If the person that is supposed to moderate, for example, didn't come, I will just take over. And the fellowship is supposed to stop by 8 o'clock. Exactly 8 o'clock, I will make sure it stop. If it doesn't stop, I will go and make the person stop. You understand? So managing my time, have I give my academics priority. Then I work by schedule. Every week, there are 16 weeks in a semester. I have 16 different timetables for the 16 weeks in the semester. Every week I have scheduled for that week. So by the time we finish the semester, I have 16 different schedule, such that whatever I don't plan for, I don't do. You understand? So yeah, I had little time to, yes, sometimes I am invited to, award night. I go to award night and all that, but I give priority to my studies. Yes.
Wow, wow. Like your story is really inspiring.
Yeah, thank you.
So 16 different timetables for
Yeah,
16 weeks. Were there no time where you used to be tired? I know I am also into the
yeah.
academics. I encourage a lot of students to read, to plan their semester. But were there no time where you get tired? Let me just leave this thing and leave it. Maybe tomorrow I'll read.
No, 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 no. There has never been a time throughout my stay as an undergraduate student where I am supposed to read. I put systems in place already. I tell students, number one, throughout my 5 years in the university as an undergraduate, I did not own a bed. I didn't have a bed. So I made the systems I put in place made it impossible for me to feel at home in school. So imagine I did not own a
Wait,
bed.
you know
Yes, I didn't have a
where are you
bed.
sleeping?
That is the question. Yes. So I was hardly, in fact, 100 level. When I came in 100 level, I donated my bed space as kitchen. You understand? So there was no bed. So I just the systems I put in place made it just impossible for me to feel at home. There was never a time there was this passion. There was this passion because everything is planned. I know that I have first to 6 weeks to prepare for the first middle of the semester. Then week 7, I go for mid-semester break. Coming back, I have 6 weeks again. Then I have 3 weeks for exam. So by the time I schedule it, there's never been a time that I say, okay, let me just leave things and all that. And again, another thing that really helped me, I had a friend then, yes, Grace, that we read together and all that. So it just made everything interesting. I also had a group, Immaculata was there, Paulina was there. So they were looking up to me and they were looking up to me. So there was no way I could just
You want to
back
fall
down.
hands.
Yes, yes.
Wow. So how was your reading routine like? Because every time I meet you, I know we're on the same campus. I
Yes,
was doing a lot of things at that
yes,
time. But anytime I meet you on campus, it's
yes.
either you're going to read or coming back from reading.
Yeah.
So what was your reading routine like? And how were you able to keep up with it? What was your reading routine like? How do
Like
you
I
used to read?
said,
Is it
yeah.
every day 12 hours or every day 6 hours? How
No,
was it like?
like I said, every week, every Sunday, I sit down, I plan the week. Most of my time I spend reading. So I plan it in such a way that before lectures, I read. While waiting for the lecturer, maybe lecturer delay, I read. If the lecturer fails to come, there is a contingency plan I have for reading. You understand? If there is free period, I read. If there's public holiday, I read. But my main reading time, I read at night, mostly. Usually, 8 p.m. to 2, 3 a.m. I come back to the hostel. Usually, I sleep for 3 hours, average 3 hours. I sleep early morning too. I read before 8. So I was always reading. That's just the thing because I lived a very, very planned life. I have my schedule every week, different
You lived
schedules.
a life of reading. I remember
Yeah,
before I got admission, I went to school. I also had a goal of
yes,
graduating with the first class, which I did
yeah,
get. And there was something I told myself to encourage myself.
yeah,
Though even me, I went with that goal of graduating as as the overall best graduating
yeah,
student, but I didn't keep up with that. But
yeah,
thank God I eventually graduated with
yeah,
first class. Yeah, I told myself that I want to sentence myself to 4 years of reading.
mm,
That was what I
yeah,
told myself before going to school. I said, okay, James, this is just 4 years of your
yes,
life. Are you getting me? And I told myself, particularly, I said, sentence yourself to 4 years
yeah,
in reading. I used to tell students that it is laziness that is making a lot of students to fail.
exactly.
Students don't want to read, and students don't know how to read. And we're also going to learn how you were able to read and study and
Yeah,
assimilate what you
yeah,
were reading. I just want to encourage somebody that is watching now that there is no success story, especially if you want to graduate with an outstanding result in campus without hard work.
yeah.
You must sit down and read. It's not easy. It's not easy. You must sit down and read. But before we go there, were some of the habits you cultivated or developed that helped you?
Okay. Before then, I will recommend everyone to read The Atomic Habit. I think that was by James Clear, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
James Clear.
The Atomic Habit by James Clear. One thing that I've developed over the years is consistency. Consistency. You don't have to be me that will read for long. I do tell students, if you can consistently read 3 hours every day, non-stop, there is no way you will ever see failure. It is not possible. It's not always about the length. The reason why I read for very long hours is because, I am not a very, very fast learner. Yes, I'm not a very, very fast learner. So sometimes I have to, what's the name of that electricity and magnetism textbook? Who is the author? Is it Kashimbila
Kashimbila or Galarenchi?
Galaranchi? That textbook you are seeing, before test, I have read it cover to cover from beginning to end like 3 times before test. So that before exam, I've finished reading that textbook from A to Z like 4 times. So across all my courses, I read from beginning to end over and over and over and over again. So the habit is the habit of consistency. One of the consistent habits, for example, I say I never read on Sundays, but every Monday, 12 a.m. to 5 a.m., to be able to absorb the shock of that 24 hours I didn't read, 12 to 5, throughout my stay in Bayero, 12 to 5 every Monday, 12 a.m. to 5 a.m.
You were not sleeping in class?
No. You don't, when you have something burning in your heart, you don't sleep. And you usually see me, if you see me in class,
yes,
you don't see me in a class where there are so many people. You see me in strategic places. Most of my reading, I read outdoors. I stay on the ground. I sit down on the ground. I study. So the habit I cultivated over the years is the habit of consistency. Consistency in what? Consistency in planning. Every semester, I have 16 different timetables for the 16 different weeks. Because the semester is changing. Courses are becoming complex. There are lecturers that will not come to class until week 9. Yes. So what do you do? Because lecturers are not coming, you don't read? No. So I plan for it. So week 9 now, then the lecturer comes and in a day, he gives like 200 slides. Because I have planned, I will now be able to absorb that shock. So consistency in planning, it really helped me. Consistency in reading. Even if I'm going to read for 30 minutes. In fact, I remember a lot of people, they say a lot of things about me. In fact, there was someone that came one day and he said, you are doing God's own part. Which one do you want God to even do? Like, God cannot even help you because you are already, yes, you are doing your part, you are doing God's own part. You understand?
Yes.
So the habit of consistency, planning my timetable, and then reading. When I have come to the place of reading, nothing takes me from that place until I am done reading. When I got a phone, I'm sorry to say, even if it is my pastor that is calling me, my phone is on silent. I won't pick his call until after my study. So I was very, very disciplined in that. When I'm cooking, you will always see me. If you come to my room, you always see me with piece of papers. When I go to fetch water, you see me with a piece of paper, a summary. When I'm on the road, you see me with piece of paper. So I just consistently reading. Yeah, that's just it.
So please, this is the part where it gets interesting. But before we continue, he spoke of a book, The Atomic Habits. If you want to get the book for free, you can indicate your interest in the comment section. Just say you're interested. I've read the book 2 or 3 times, and it's a book that you should read. Just say you're interested in the comment section. I'm going to send a copy of the book to you. Also, how were you able to understand everything you were reading? Many students today, one of the complaints they make is, I study, I don't understand. I read, I don't understand. So, first of all, 2-in-1 question. How did you used to do your own reading, and how did you assimilate? How was it easy for you to understand everything you were reading? And in your own opinion, what is the difference between reading and studying?
Okay. This part is a very sensitive part, and I know there are so many people from different backgrounds listening to us. Yes, and I'm a Christian. I believe in the spirit of excellence. That is number one thing. And in Job 32 verse 8, there is a spirit in man, and the breath of God gives man understanding. So sincerely, I was even now operating in the gift of the spirit of excellence. So what I do, I'm going to give you 2 parts of the story. There is a part that God plays. There's a part that you play. So there's a part of the divine that God plays. There's a part I play. So what is the part that God plays? God is an excellent God. He gives understanding to anyone who asks. So one thing I know is that God helped me. He gave me an understanding heart. Even in the midst of hunger. In fact, calculus, I never did calculus further mathematics in secondary school. Before we resumed second semester, 100 level, I had covered like 30 to 40 to 50% of the scheme of work for calculus. Yes, because I had understanding. You understand? Now, what about my own responsibility? What part I played? Number one, I believe very well in spirituality. Throughout my stay in school, before I study, sincerely, I must read a chapter of the Bible. After I finish studying, I also read a chapter of the Bible. It helps me. So I recommend this a lot, especially to the Christian students. Now, number two, which is very, very important, is the place of repetition. I tell students I am of slow of like I am a slow learner.
Yeah.
You understand? So because of that, I do repetitive reading. Now, what do we mean? When I take a book, for example, I can read it first like 10 times. Just be reading it like newspaper. I will just be reading it like newspaper. I don't care whether I understand or not. I'll just be reading it just to skim through over and over and over and over and over again. Then by the time I do that, when I want to do the main study, I sit down, I study with my whole senses. I do tell students, I believe in spirituality a lot. I believe that you can engage your spirit while reading. You know, you don't just read half-heartedly. You don't just read just casually. So when I read, I try to engage my heart. For those of you that may not really understand spirituality very well, I engage my heart while reading. So what it means is that, I don't know how to explain. Let me just, for those that will understand, I believe that what you are reading, there is a spirit behind what you are reading. There is behind the letters, there is a substance in it. These things were written by men that had souls.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So they communicated things, not just from their brain, from their heart. So reading with your mind is connecting beyond what you are seeing, connecting to the essence of that material. So what I do, I'm able to connect my heart to what I'm reading, such that it's quite complex to really explain, very easy. But what it is, the easiest way I can explain this is that if you study the life of the monks,
monks, yeah.
yes, what they do is that, you know, they meditate. And as they meditate, they connect to a higher, they call it, yes, a higher intelligence. That is it,
Yes.
a higher intelligence. So what I do, after, you know, the survey, reading it over and over and over and over and over and over, I connect with the higher intelligence. Everybody, there is a higher intelligence. There is what we call the sixth sense. You understand? The sixth sense is something you may not really understand very well. But in essence, what I do, number one, I skim through my work over and over and over again. So I read with as much senses as possible. I read, I write. Yes, as I'm reading, I'm writing. As I'm writing, I'm talking to myself. As I'm talking to myself, I'm asking myself questions. I'm thinking beyond what is written. I'm putting myself in the shoes of the author. Okay, this is what the author means. You understand? And not only that, I'm solving a lot of past questions. A lot of past questions.
I was going to ask that too.
Yes, I'm solving a lot of past questions. So this method is what we were taught when we were small, the SQ3R method. So first of all, you don't just see a material like that and then you just start cramming. No, no, you don't do that. You need to survey it. Just you skim through, then you read it, then you go deeper. You ask questions, you recite. You try to engage as many senses as possible, because the more of the senses you apply, the more you can easily recall. Sometimes you have to vocalize what you are reading. Sometimes you have to use graphical illustrations. Sometimes if you can even use it to do music. Yeah. Sometimes you can read like as a group. You just talk it. You try to apply as much sense as possible to do that. So basically that is what I do, especially repetition. I don't just read a material and then I just deceive myself that I'm done. I read and read and read and read. I ask myself, what are the possible questions that will come out? I answer it so that when I come to the examination hall, I don't think. All I have to do is to write. Yes, because I've already thought out the possible questions that will come out and what exactly I'm going to answer. So basically, that is what I do.
Wow. I think that's the last thing you said. I also apply it a lot while I was in school. I study past questions a lot and I prepare for anything. I expect anything in the examination hall. That is why I don't go to the examination hall and I'm shocked. I'm not shocked. There's no way I can go to the examination hall and I forget what I read. I don't forget what I read. A lot of students come with that excuse that they forget what they read. And that is probably because they don't also engage with the substance of the material like you said.
Exactly.
You get it? You know, when you just read casually, it can stay in your brain, but it can easily
Yes.
evaporate.
Yes.
Those exercise and activities you mentioned are those things that will make the thing to become a part of you.
Exactly.
Are you
Yeah.
getting it?
Yeah.
So that is it. So when studying, study with the whole of your senses. We have six senses. Maybe you are using only two. So please engage all the senses, the six senses. And one thing I took note of, especially when we're in school, is that you used to resume like the day school resume.
Yes.
You used to resume, or a day before school resume, you must resume.
Yes.
Can you tell us about how does that play a role? Because some students they used to resume sixth week, fifth week.
Ah, I have never, in fact, I've never resumed school the day school resume. I always resume school before school resume. Before school resume. Latest, the day before the official calendar.
Hmm.
That school. In fact, a lot of times the hostel have not been opened, but maybe there's one or two hostel that they just open. We'll just
Maybe
go
for
and
medical
patch there.
students.
Yes. There's never been a time all through my years in university where I had complete full stop. I said, no, I have full stop now, I can go. In fact, 400 level, first semester 400 level. The only food stuff I had was one module of rice. I didn't even have transport to go to school. I'm telling you the truth. Including Wada here, I had to give the keke man that one module of rice to take me to school. That was the only food stuff. So I didn't even have transport.
Wait, repeat that line again.
Yes. The only thing I had,
the man,
yes,
the model of rice.
to take me to school.
Okay, how did you come up with that plan? Okay, you didn't have transport to go to school. You have a
Yes, a module of rice.
You
Yes.
now okay, you now thought, what if the man you now thought, okay, you will give the man this.
Yes, because the value of the module of rice is like ×5 of the transport money. But because I don't have transport money, and nobody's going to buy that module of rice from me, and maybe did he go steal it or something? So I explained to the keke man, I said, okay, look at it. I'm resuming school. I don't have money for transport, but I must be in school. Please, I have this one module of rice. You take it. In exchange, you ride me to school. That was in 400 level. You understand? So that was how desperate I was to resume school.
Wow. So you must resume before school.
Yes, I had to
that
resume.
Was like a principle.
It was because at that time, people are not in school. So I will use the first week to settle down. You know, when you resume school, your spirit, your body, your soul is still in vacation. So you don't just resume school like that and you catch up. No, you need to get yourself acclimatized. So during that first week, usually the school is scanty. I use that first week to organize myself. I use that first week to go around the school, just going around so that my brain will know that, yes, I'm back to school. Yes, I will sit down, I will plan, because every semester has its own challenges. You know, I will sit down and strategize. I do resumption retreat. Yes, I just lock myself and just plan for the semester so that by the end of that week, when people are resuming, I'm already into thorough study. Where people are coming and then casually doing that, I'm already studying. Yeah, so I'm advising students, you don't need to have all the full stuff before you resume. So that is it. You come to school, let your parents send the money later on when they have it.
Chiamaka is watching me now. She will not come. She will not come. Wait, but yes. Wow, I guess I'm short of words. Especially you give your one module of rice. Now, okay, you just go to school. Nobody has to resume. Like, you will not even think of, what am I going to eat?
No. Food was not actual. I know that I will survive. You know, hunger does not kill. You understand? Wow. I just know that. Let me just go. Just be in the environment. When I'm in the environment, life will take care of itself. But let me just be in the environment. So that's just it.
Even me, anytime I used to resume, I used to carry food stuff. All right, I think we are wrapping up now. You know, campus is a place where you see a lot of activities going on. There are a lot of distractions in campus. Distractions in form of social activities, distractions in form of, you know, friends want to go clubbing, want to go party. Sometimes I see in campus that some people, they can make their fellowship be like a distraction to them. So how were you able to, you know, navigate through all those distractions? And the people watching you now, what can you recommend based on how you were able to deal with that issue of distraction? Yes. Because I believe there were a lot of distractions. So how were you able to close your eyes, you know, against all those distractions and still stay focused? Because especially in a school like Bayero University, I schooled in Bayero University, I know what distraction is,
Yes.
especially when it comes to politics.
Yeah.
When the semester is, getting to an end, after the mid semester, the politics activities start going on, weeks of department, weeks of faculty, this
Yeah.
cultural day, and all
Yeah.
those distractions, both in the faculty, outside the
Yeah.
faculty, in the fellowship. How were you able to survive all those distractions?
Yeah, the truth is you need to know what you want. Yes, there's politics in school, there's religious activities. In fact, especially the religious activities. There are, I have big problem with that. There are students, I went to BUK the other time and I was talking to 100 level students. I said, how can you be a student? You are attending like 4 different fellowships. Not just 4 different fellowships, you are going to town for vigil.
And you're even committed to all
Yes. In fact, you are going everywhere. What is your problem? So the truth is that without getting admission, you won't be in school.
Thank you.
So you need to understand, and that was what I understand, that my priority, my most important priority is school. That degree is what brought me to school. In terms of fellowship, I was very, very, very active in fellowship to the point that, I told you that on Sundays, I never read on Sundays, but I was dangerously focused. That is why you need to have timetable schedule. If it is time for me to study, there is nothing that will make me not to study. So what I did was that I understood priority. I understood that this is my priority. Concerning church, I say, okay, I will go to church on Sunday. I'll go to church on Monday. I'll go to church on Thursday. And on Sunday, I give the rest to God. Any other day is not compulsory. And no matter what the program is, except I just voluntarily want to go, there is nobody that will come and compel me to go. I already made that plan. I already made that covenant with God. So I established my own priority. Now, coming to cultural activities and all that, it depends. You can't have a tangible result like this and you are everywhere. It's not possible. In fact, I did not attend my matriculation. I was studying. Yes.
Another punchline.
As important as matriculation.
People want to die.
Yes, as important as matriculation
because
is.
have not done matriculation.
Yes.
2 times they want to kill themselves.
Yes, as important as matriculation was, I never wore that matriculation cap. But look at, during the convocation, I was there, I shook the hands of the VC. You understand? The Oba of Benin was there, a lot of dignitaries were there, the Emir of Kano was there. So is it not 10 times better than the matriculation that you won't even be allowed to enter? You just wear gown now. So because I saw it as a distraction, I stood, I read. Now, it will surprise you that there was an award night. I was an awardee. I was invited to come to collect award. But I saw that I was supposed to be reading that time. I told the president of NAMS, I'm sorry, I cannot come. They had to bring the award to my hostel. So this is just understanding. This is just understanding priority. Do you understand? This understanding priority. Yeah, for cultural days, yes, I see them, I celebrate them. They are good people, but it's not important to me. So you need to understand what is important to you. You understand? You need to understand. There are people that after school, certificate does not mean much to them. That politics, they get good connection, they get jobs and all that. It is important for them to do it. But for me, it was not important. You understand? So you need to know what is important for you. If the politics is important to you, you do it well. You do it well such that by the time you graduate, you know that it's going to help you. But whatever is not going to help you during it's not necessary. Just focus on Boko and graduate.
Like he said, I think I need to also buttress on what he said regarding fellowships. When I was in level 1 at that time, there were some students that were on probation. Some were even in your department. I don't want to mention names. And they used to come to fellowship because we pray every night by 12. They used to come to fellowship. At that time, I didn't know they were in provision. They were on probation rather. And there was one in particular that I knew, a lady. She's married now. So when the first semester result came out, she was in level 2. She saw that her result was so poor. Remember, she is at that time already on probation. So when she sent her result to me and said she has given up, she wants to pack her load and go. And I said, okay, since it's only 1 semester, why can't you just give it a try? You get it? So after we paid the school fees, just give it a try. Who knows, maybe. You get. So that semester I told her, please just form timetable and be focused. And you will see this lady, she coming for prayer. Nobody's against coming for prayer. But we'll pray from 12 to 1. And sometimes some people enjoy the prayer so much that they want to stay. So there was a time we were praying, and then the euphoria of the prayer at that particular time, everybody wants to stay and continue praying. And me that knows this lady's problem, I called her and told her and said, leave this prayer.
I'm
Go
going to
and
read. Yeah.
You get, but she was looking and said, I'm stopping her from praying. That was how she continued praying. That semester, her result was even worse.
Yeah.
At that time, she was sent out of the school. And after she was sent out of the school, she never come for prayer again.
You see.
You get, so you need to understand priorities. Priorities. I took out time, even as a Muslim too, you need to understand priorities, you understand. Don't allow, you need to be focused. And at that time, president of a lot of fellowships, you will see them spilling because they did not understand balance and priority. So before we wrap up and go to the last section, one distraction that students face, especially now in school, is romantic relationship.
Nanotology.
Okay, there's a name they call it in the UK. Either rheumatology or nanotology. You get it?
Yes.
Some people say this is a course, and some people say this is even a 4 credit or
It's 9 credits.
It's 9 credits. You get
Yeah.
it? So I see that as a distraction for me. You get it?
Yeah.
I see that as a distraction. So I don't know. Was there no time where you felt like you two should also jump into a relationship, because it's as if it's the norm now? You get it? Were there no time where you felt like you two should go into a relationship? And how do you see that as a distraction? And what is your advice to?
Well, first of all, in fact, even before coming to BUK, I heard about rheumatology. Yeah, because my elder brother was there.
Okay.
And nanotology. I also love gardening.
Gardening.
Those things.
Yes.
Those things are
especially
everywhere. Yeah, those things. In fact, when I went to University of Nigeria, there is a love garden there. Different campuses, they have love garden, campus romance. Yes. When I was in Bayero, Grace was there. I was very, very, very close to Grace. But the relationship was not that one. In fact, it made me to study more. Because we stay, not just Grace. I had Immaculata then. I had Paulina then. You understand? We're very friends. We're a group. We study. It was a relationship that motivated us to study. It was not throughout that study, throughout my stay in Bayero, I never said I want to carry any girl out anywhere. No.
Please don't be angry. You didn't carry any girl out.
Yes, I did not. Yes. What they do, any girl that I had, even the outside girls and all that, any girl that comes, the only thing you can get from me, I will teach you how to study. In fact, Grace, my friend, she was having about 3 carryovers before she met me. By the time we became friends, not just only Grace, even Immaculata, they had carryovers. By the time we started reading together, they never had carryover in their life again. Even the ones they had, they clear it. So in school, you can have profitable relationship, but not the campus romance we are talking about. Now, another thing you have to be careful about, there's one of my colleagues then. The first time I taught her, she was surprised. I didn't do anything with her and all that. I said, what happened? He said, yes, just for somebody to teach her 1301, he was already asking for sex. So these things, I have another of my colleague again. I tell you, she didn't graduate. During examination, she's going out with a guy. And it will come with heartbreak and all that. So on campus, I didn't engage in that campus romance, in quote. You understand? But I have several girls that we're friends with, that we studied together. We engage. They cook. Sometimes they will bring. Yes, we teach each other. So my advice for young people, students, is that unless you are emotionally strong, it is not necessary, especially nowadays, 15, 16, 17 years, you see them in the university and all that. So my advice for you is that until you get to like 300 level, when you know that at least you are having 3.5 and above, you don't really need a relationship. Or maybe you are a kind of person that you want to get married immediately after school, because relationship on campus is a very, very big distraction. It's a very, very big distraction. And I do not recommend it, especially for teenagers, because we have several issues of students being expelled. Yes, we have tight security in Bayero University. I don't know whether they call them Baba Blue again, those security. Yes. Baba Blue. Yes. Sometimes you see, 2 lovers, messing up themselves in the campus, and then by the time security catch them, that's the end of their stay in Bayero. So if you are not emotionally strong enough to resist that, you stand the risk of being expelled from school, besides the fact that it will take a toll on your academics. And also, relationship is an emotional investment. So the energy you will use to study, you are using it to maintain a relationship. Relationship requires maintenance. And so you just it may not be necessary.
Yeah.
But if it is necessary, it is very good that the person you are in a relationship with should not even be in that school, and to avoid so much distraction. And the person shouldn't be coming to visit very, very often, because just 16 weeks in a semester, 6 weeks, and then 7th week you go for mid-semester break. I think you can manage it that way.
Please, especially those of you that are in a romantic relationship, I'm giving you an advice as an elder now. Break up.
Yes.
Yes. Clear. Break
Yes,
up.
it's a big distraction.
I remember those days in my level 100, there was this girl in level 1 too, and this other guy in level 1. I think she's in one of this medical field. And all of a sudden, we're praying one night, and she was not praying with us. And I was surprised. So after the prayers, I met her and said, "Okay, what's happened? What is happening?" She said she's feeling guilty and she cannot pray. I said, "Okay, what happened?" Before that time, and it was in the same place where we're praying. Before that time of prayer, she and one guy, one very tall boy, they were in that place making out. He was fingering her. I get him, and they were caught by Baba Blue, and it's close to exam period. So they seized her ID card. You get it? And the guy was not with his ID card, so they seized her ID card. So she now told us, so we were looking for how we can go and take. The only thing that saved that was because the security man was corrupt. He was asking, "Okay, just bring 5,000 naira.
Wow.
I will not report you to the security, to the school authority. You just collect your ID card." So when we got there, that was what I used to pin him down for us to get the ID card. Get it? And even if she was not withdrawn by the school, that was the semester she was withdrawn because of her performance.
Just imagine.
So I don't think there is any point. I can go on and on with a lot of students. It just ends in tears. So you need to be focused on your study. Is there any other distraction? Do you feel there's any other distraction apart from all this one we just mentioned today as students used to face or may likely face?
Yeah,
any other obstacles?
Yes, I think one, I'm going to mention a few. Number one is, social media. Then there was social media, yes, but it's not as rampant.
There was no ChatGPT at that time.
Yes, it's not as rampant as now. These days, safe, you don't know the difference between a student and the intellectualism spirit. The academic spirit is dying.
It's dying.
Yes.
It's dying.
So one challenge is the issue of social media, especially you see students. There is this memes I used to, they will just be dancing with caption, on TikTok. Those things are big distractions. And not only that, another distraction, is too much tutorials. Students that don't understand themselves, they just keep attending tutorials, jump from one tutorial to another, jump from one tutorial to another. You have to understand that it is not tutorials help, but too much of tutorials is a very big distraction. The same thing with group reading.
Yes.
Group reading helps, but too much of group reading, it's a big distraction. Not only that, night reading. These days, a lot of them, they don't understand themselves. They don't understand their capacity. They go for night class. They just go and they sleep till in the morning. They don't read. It's a big distraction too. So I think basically that is it. Social media distraction. Even this AI now, the emergence of AI is a distraction too. Students no longer do deep reading. And then we used to go to the library and then we take, there are those books in the reserve section.
Yes.
There are those books in the reserve section. In fact, sometimes, may God forgive us, some of those rare books, we'll carry it, then we'll not keep it in one part of the shelf. We'll be using it. But now, students don't even go to the library again. They don't go to the library. So these things are some of those distractions. Yeah.
As we wrap up now, what are the practical steps or strategy that any students that want to graduate with a first class result, be the person from a poor background, what are the steps and strategy that you think the person needs to start taking now?
Okay. Number one, you need to have the desire. That's number one, desire. You must desire it more than everything. You desire it more than campus romance. You desire it more than politics. You desire it more than jumping from one place to another. So you have the desire. Now, not just the desire. You have to translate the desire into writing. You write the goal. You write it down. Just by writing your goals, it gives you a higher chance of achieving it. Then number three, you have to be willing to pay the price. I'm sorry to say it, I work with a lot of students locally, internationally. The Nigerian educational system is so watered down that if you can just simply reproduce what you have been taught, you can have a first class. It is very easy to have a first class in Nigerian universities. They don't do critical thinking. The questions they ask are just
You
direct
can cram
questions.
and
You
try
just
first
cram
class.
and
Many
just
first
graduate.
class students today cram and
Yes,
graduate first class.
yes. So first class is not a big deal. So you just you pay the price. All you have to do, there is a scheme of work. There is no way upon the face of the earth that you will complete your scheme of work and you won't get an A. So just complete your scheme of work, and getting an A does not start from exam. Attendance matters. You attend your classes. Those CAs matters. You have your CAs. Your group assignment matters. Your practicals matters. Those little things. So by the time out of 30%, now by the time you have 25% in your CA exam, you just have even less than 60, you have an A. So that is what you do. Then you need to work with a schedule, have a workable timetable. Yes, and you have to be flexible. The reason why students don't use timetable is because maybe they say 10 o'clock I'm going to read, and then at 10 o'clock there's an emergency lecture, and then they just get disorganized. So your timetable will have to be flexible for that, and then you need to be consistent. Now, not only that consistency, also you need to have a fighting spirit. Sometimes lecturers victimize students. Yes. In fact, after in 100 level, after that first semester, when I made up my mind that I was going to have 5 points till I graduate, I had to deal with, there were lecturers I dealt with. Yes. Chemistry practical, for example. I will teach you chemistry practical. You will have 10 over 10. I will have 6 over 10. How come? So there were times when if I'm not comfortable with my score, I'll go and meet the lecturer. I'll say, how come? Why did this happen? There was one of the tests then in physics. That's behavior of matter. Yes. I had to go and meet the lecturer in his office because he said that people failed the test. So he gave another. I said, Sami, I did not fail that test. He had to mark it again. So there are times you have to be bold enough to fight. Yes. If you feel that you have been marked down, you have the right to go. In fact, there was one student, after the Senate has approved the result, he fought for the result. He didn't have a first class, so he fought for the result. The student affairs yes, had to help him. They remarked he got a first class. So even when the Senate has approved the result, when you know that you are wrongly marked, you have a missing script, you don't just say that is how God wants it. So you must be willing to fight. And then you persist. It's not going to be easy. There are times where you won't have the scores. I had my first test in 1301, I got 0. Yeah, I got 0. Yes, I got 0. Yes, I got 0 because it was an impromptu test. Yes, it was an impromptu test. But I ended up, those of us that got A in my class, they were just like 3. But I ended up having an A. You know, sometimes you may fail in your test and all that, but you don't just give up. You fight again, you get it.
Wow. So thank you very, very much for your time and for everything you've dished out. I was really inspired too. I just feel like I still go back and bash another first class, but this time with 4.99. So please, regarding your book, I don't know, where can they search it? I told them to.
I think it's better. I'm going to give you the PDF. Okay. You can get it on Sailor. It's free. You can get it on Sailor. It's free. You can get it on Scripd. It is free. You can just, even if you Google it, you will see the PDF. You can download it. Or I can even give him the PDF. Then you upload
please,
it.
if you are interested in the book, just say interested. I'm going to send the PDF to you directly. And also, I wrote an article. Like I said, the article is just another roadmap. The same roadmap, yeah. Most of what we've discussed here is in that article, and you can register your interest, and I'm going to send it. I wish you guys all the best, and thank you so very much. I feel you are fulfilled. Just like, you know, some people say that after all the struggle so far, so this is it. But when I believe you were fulfilled, you were happy,
very well.
All right, so thank you for following us till now. You can share this video to fellow students and your friends. Thank you. This is the Readers Club. If you have not subscribed, please kindly subscribe. And there is a video over here, 2 videos you are going to watch. One is before you come to campus, there are some things you need to know. And the other video is what is the clear difference between reading and studying. So see you in the next one. Thank you for staying through with us.
Okay.
Thank you very much.